Welcome back. You're watching the Urban Debate on Magicbricks Now. We focus on issues of cleanliness today. And there's a horrid story coming out of the center of Mumbai. The 80-year-old society that you're looking at your screen right now has turned into a Hepatitis E-endemic society. Contaminated water, garbage near the pipelines are to blame. This sort of green water is what came out of their pipes today when our reporters were standing by. These are the pipelines that we're looking at. The BMC says the fault lies with the internal drainage of the pipeline in the society. The society claims that it has changed its pipes thrice over, cleaned all its tanks, and it is still receiving contaminated water. Also, to make matters worse, 2 other housing societies in the neighborhood are also receiving contaminated water. Entire families are down with jaundice. Entire families are sick. Ruchi Deshpande sent us this report.
I am standing here in Western Dadar, which is also home to the residents of the housing society called Palan Sojpal. Now, there are about 200 residents over here in this entire housing society that have been facing problems regarding contaminated and dirty water since June this year, that is since the past 4 months. So much so that out of these 200 families, about 60 to 65 residents of the society have either been affected with jaundice or hepatitis A and E. The problem about contaminated water has been going on since the month of June, and it has gotten so severe that the residents claim that nearby hospitals treat all their cases of every resident from this society as a case of jaundice or a case of hepatitis E. The residents further told Magicbricks Now that they are spending nearly 500 rupees per day on getting bottled water or Bisleri water just for their daily needs, because the BMC is clearly not providing them with clean drinking water. They also said that they approached the Mumbai Municipal Corporation to pay heed to their problems and come out with a solution, but they say that it has been 4 months. They were also asked to replace the pipeline, which they have done so, but the problem about contaminated water hasn't ceased. Now, we spoke to the Mumbai Municipal Corporation officers who told us that the problem here lies with the internal water drainage of the individual housing societies, and they will cut off this water going forward so that the residents have to come and get the pipeline replaced, leading to the main water pipeline, which will in turn ensure clean drinking water for everyone. They say that it will take at least 2 or 3 days for them to identify if the similar problem lies in the housing societies along the same line. Now, the residents we spoke to also told us that this is not the problem just in this society, but also in a host of 2 other societies in the same line where there are patients of jaundice and hepatitis due to the contaminated water that the BMC claims is coming from these societies itself.
So this is a problem that's not new to the citizens of Mumbai. Sewage water mixing with drinking water. It's as appalling and shocking as that in the biggest city in this country. That's what you're looking at on your screen. And these citizens are not complaining about the fact that they want clean water to drink. They're saying that brushing their teeth and taking showers with that water right now is what's making them sick. They need to buy bottled water to brush their teeth. How bad is it going to be before the government actually wakes up and provides us with basic amenities of clean water? We're not even talking about clean air yet. On the show with me tonight, Niranjan Shetty BJP Spokesperson in Mumbai. Rishi Agarwal stays with us. Ronak Sutaria Chief Technologist of IndiaSpend. Also joining me on the show, residents from that housing society who've been fighting this problem for months. Hemant, Bokil, Mithun, Hitendra, Sachin, thank you for joining us. I want to start with the residents. I want to hear your voices. Hemant, I will start with you. Tell us what the experience has been in that housing society. How often have you approached the BMC? And what responses did you get?
The problem started in the month of May end or June, I can say, when the tunnel near Ruparal College was operated for something, and for one day the water supply was cut. The very next day we started getting the muddy water. We thought since the work was done in the tunnel, there was some problem. But the problem continued. After 10 days, we first inquired with BMC, what is the issue? We did not get any proper reply. After that, there have been many such group meetings. We used to go with the corporator also. We used to go with the residents of the society also. And we would go to the G North office of BMC and we would request them. We would show them the supply of the water in a glass, how the water is bad.
Right.
But still we couldn't get any proper answer or any proper action.
What did they say to you when you went to the BMC office and said, this is the water that I'm getting out of my tap? How
every time they would say, we would
this?
check, give us some time. give us 2-3 days. We are putting our teams there. We are putting cameras on the pipeline. We shall start digging everything. But nothing happened. And unfortunately, I started perishing in the August month. On 9th, I was admitted in unconscious state to Bombay Hospital. I was unconscious for 5 days. I was in ICU.
What was the diagnosis?
A diagnosis was hepatitis E, and I was diagnosed with 98% liver damage.
98% liver damage?
Yes. And they asked me to go for liver transplant, but luckily my body started cooperating with the treatment doctors were giving. Prayers and blessings of my family, relatives, friends, everybody was with me, and that was a miracle how I came out of it.
Hey, but how many other residents of the building also had similar problems with liver damage?
Around 64 people were diagnosed with the same thing. People had RO purifier, UV protection water given to them. Still they had those contaminated water coming and people were drinking it.
Mithun, tell me, how many children are sick in that building right now?
Approximately 15 to 20 children are also sick over there. There is one family where in one house there are 4 children who are suffering from fever, jaundice and everything.
And what are the doctors telling you all?
Doctors, some told that because it is due to water only. And in our residence, there are nearly 70 to 80 people who are been suffering from jaundice, hepatitis B, and because all the doctors told that it is because due to water itself.
And you're obviously not using this water to drink. Why is it still making you sick?
Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. See, what happens is when we are taking a bath, it's but natural some drops of water will enter the mouth. At the same time, people used to drink Bisleri for drinking needs. But while brushing the teeth, while washing the hands, obviously the tap water was used. And that is how the virus started entering people's stomach.
From the lifetime.
All right. I also want to ask Hitendra, who's also in the studio. Hitendra, we've heard reports that the water smells bad. Have you had anyone check the water, test the water? What are the contents of this water right now?
We had been trying for this thing actually, but we don't know about the right place where to go about these things actually, ma'am.
Okay.
We are known to where to take this water and where have it a check for that actually, ma'am. We are trying it from 2 to 3 months, I think so.
Rishi Agarwal, can we help them there? Get the water tested, find out what's in it?
I mean, there's no shortage. The National Environmental Engineering Research Institute is there. They've got great labs. So I think testing can happen at multiple places, which I myself know. This is a very sad state of affairs. I mean, there's no shortage of places where the testing can happen. I mean, BMC itself should be ensuring that those samples are taken up and tested.
Hitendra, my last question to you is obviously when you've gone back to the BMC repeatedly, repeatedly asking these questions, saying that, you know, what do we do now? What do we do now? The BMC asked for 1, 2, 3 days in the beginning, like Hemant was telling us. What are they saying to you now?
They're saying the same old story. Give us 2 more 3 days. We'll do it. But they are doing nothing, I think so.
And Sachin, what has your experience been with the BMC?
Yes, he has tried. Yes, he's coming with us. He's coming with us, going everywhere. But I don't think so. They are having a nice look what is going on in the society and all.
Sachin ji, आपके परिवार में कोई बीमार है?
नहीं, अभी तो नहीं है, लेकिन तो अभी आजू-बाजू में तो है ही सब जन.
डिहाइड्रेशन हो चुका है इनके यहाँ भी मतलब.
हाँ. डिहाइड्रेशन हो गया 3 months पहले.
बहुत बुरी हालत है. डिहाइड्रेशन की तो बहुत बुरी हालत थी हमारी सोसाइटी में.
सोसाइटी में.
जॉन्डिस 60 to 70% लोगों को, 70 लोगों को हो चुका है, 65 लोगों को. और डिहाइड्रेशन कम से कम 75, 80, 100 भी लोग होंगे. हर एक को हो चुका है, हर घर में हो चुका है. ये सब वाटरबॉर्न डिजीजेस, जस्ट अबाउट वाटरबॉर्न डिजीज.
और हितेंद्र, बीएमसी का कहना है कि सूएज और पानी आपके बिल्डिंग में मिक्स हो रहा है.
उनका कहना है, उनको 3 महीने पहले भी मैंने दिखाया था. मैंने ये भी कहा था, तो मैंने पाइपलाइन हम लोगों ने चेंज भी की.
We have changed totally the pipelines from A building also and from B building also. The full pipelines have been changed from the tank till the outside road.
Yeah.
And still BMC is telling that there is a fault in the water in your premises itself. You please check with for that.
To the extent the BMC limit starts for the pipeline, we have changed everything.
Is this building the only building that's facing a problem?
There are lots of buildings, but nobody is coming in front of the channels to answer the question.
Why is that?
That we don't know, but our building is facing the problems. Nearby also there are lots of buildings who are facing the problem.
Same problem, same.
And the point to be noted in this case is that all the buildings are the old buildings which have been in existence for around 60 to 80 years.
It's an appalling state of affairs. Niranjan Shetty ji, आप बताइए अभी इनको हम क्या जवाब दें?
You want me to respond in English or Hindi?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
I first of all sympathize, and it's a very unfortunate incident that this kind of callous attitude of a officer of the Mumbai Municipal Corporation is taking these people into account. I personally feel that it is very unfortunate and he is answerable to it. On my personal level, I would naturally speak to the hydraulic engineer who is in charge of the waterworks department, and the person, whoever Mr. Hitendra ji or somebody else, let me know his names. I will personally speak to the hydraulic engineer. This callous attitude will not be tolerated, at least towards the citizens of Mumbai.
Thank you.
Apart
sir,
from,
thank you.
yeah, positively. I will take up your issue to the hydraulic engineer.
Thank you, sir.
And as far as this is concerned, you yourself said it's an old building. I also stay in a very old kind of a building where such kind of things, previously these kinds of pipes and all that come together. I was speaking to one of the officers also. We also faced such. But having said that, we should also consider that Mumbai Municipal Corporation is the only corporation where it opens around approximately 1,000 valves in a day, and approximately 250 supply chains are there from where we get, all of Mumbai gets the water. So I think there is something needs to be checked. I think the officer is at fault in spite of your grievances and you going and telling for past 4 months. If such kind of attitude is there with the officer, he should be pulled up for that. I will personally take up your grievances.
He should be more than pulled up, he should be fired.
Absolutely. I will personally go to the hydraulic.
Sir, I would like to add one point in this case.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that is this, that when the complaint was made and they could see, even BMC officials could see the muddy water coming out, what they started doing is wasting 15 to 20,000 liters of water every day by flushing it out. Whatever those poles which are there, which are used by firefighting people in case of emergency, which are connected to the water pipes, from that today evening also, you can ask the cameraman that they have recorded that water was coming out. The moment I told my building people that water again is flushed out today, because of which we shall get little better water, they stopped it. So why they are doing that? They are flushing out the muddy water and then allowing the good water to come to us, which means there is some fault.
This is a larger problem. There was a report in January last year where there was a study done of the quality of water in Mumbai, and it turned out that Marine Drive, which is the most upscale part of the city along with Kalba Devi, Zaveri Bazar, had 24% contamination in its water. And what was found in the water? Sewage water, mud, E. coli. These are the things that make us sick. Almost every neighborhood in our city receives contaminated water. Rishi, this is an example that we can use to drive home a point to the BMC, but this is not a problem that is limited to this one society, is it?
No, it is not. And the most shocking thing is that in the past decade or so, BMC has spent enormous amounts of money in upgradation of its water network. I mean, I don't have the figures right now. I joined the show last minute. But if you were to do research, and possibly Ronak can do a good job of it with IndiaSpend, huge amount of money, and there are a lot of catch slogans again in the past decade about Sujal Mumbai and Nirmal Mumbai. And we need to figure out, I mean, where has all that money gone? I mean, if you speak to some of the previous hydraulic engineers, Mumbai has had one of the finest hydraulic departments in Asia. I mean, the hydraulic department staff has always been very proud. In the past 10 years or so, in the name of PPP, a whole lot of important hydraulic works have been completely sent out, privatized. And I would assume that the work being done by some of these contractors is absolutely shoddy. And clearly when they're saying that they have been reducing pipelines, it means that in the BMC water mains itself, something is going wrong. And the whole premise of making this underground tunnel between Marol and Ruparel was that we could put these tunnels deep underground, 135 meters underground. That is where these tunnels are going. And there would be no scope for contamination because the surface pipelines were in a sense prone to slum dwellers puncturing them, etc. So again,
so we have the money, Rishi, we have the money, we have the expertise. What do we lack? The political will?
The political will, clearly, I think more than the officials, their local councillors should be sacked. And I mean, 60 people falling sick of hepatitis B, 98% after repeated complaints, 98% liver damage. I mean, this is the work which Nagar Sevaks are supposed to do. They should be the single point of contact and they should have the work done from the BMC officials. Citizens should not have to run around like this. And the other issue is that this has got nothing to do, in my opinion, with old buildings. I think the buildings can be old. It is how we are treating the house gullies, where again and again sewage and garbage is accumulating. And we just had a discussion on Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. These are the kind of things which need to be tackled on a war footing, which are just not being tackled. And this is not the work where you cannot expect that citizens will go into house gullies and clean up the garbage, etc. So there is a systemic failure over here, and that needs to be addressed.
Hemant, who is your local corporator?
Mr. Sada Sarvankar.
No. 1 second, ma'am. Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
His name is Sandeep Deshpande.
Okay, BMC. Yeah.
Okay.
His name is Sandeep Deshpande. Have you approached him with the problem? He's from the MNS. Have you approached him?
He's known to the problem, actually. He's known to the problem.
He's aware of the problem. Has he helped you solve that problem?
But after that, it was clear that water is becoming clearer and clearer. But again, it has started. Same thing.
So I want to understand. What has he done to help you with that problem? What has he done to fight on your behalf?
No, not from our building, actually. But he has done some water work also. He has done something.
No. I want the answer with this problem, and I'm going to bring Ronak in here. Ronak, what is the job of the local corporator when it comes to issues like this?
I think the local corporator, definitely he has a power to, mobilize things and make things happen. And coming back to one of the points over here that was made, that Bombay has 1,000 valves that are operated daily, and in fact I was part of a discussion at BMC where they wanted to monitor these valves and their openings and close, and how many times a day they are being operated. So we had a technical committee which was discussing those things, and I think the bottom line there was that water actually being such a critical resource, there is a nexus actually that is set up, which goes far deeper. And honestly, this is a very extreme case where the quality of water, but issues of quantity of water also have been they're largely affected by this nexus that is created in the city. And I've been part of discussions where the pressure of the water has been changed, and that has led to the deterioration of the quality. So I think looking at the larger picture, to answer your question, the role of the corporator, the corporate is a representative of the people. So honestly, he has to go and voice the concerns. And anytime an issue like this happens, he should be very vocal, and he should be making sure that the right experts are being called in an absolutely timely manner.
That is why the corporators voted into office.
Absolutely. He is the voice of the people that he's representing, and he should demand that the experts come in a very efficient and a very quick manner.
We're going to try and get Sandeep Deshpande on the phone. My team is trying to call him. But, this is what I want to point out. Here are people falling sick because they are not getting basic services that they deserve. Basic services, mind you, that we all pay for. We pay our taxes, so we deserve clean water. And the attitude that we have to go to the BMC with a glass of water saying, this is what we are receiving, please help us. Sandeep Deshpande is on air. Sandeep Deshpande, thank you for joining us on the show. I have with me residents of your constituency who tell us they have been sickened by green water that they have been receiving in their house. They've approached you. What have you done to help in this case, Mr. Deshpande?
We have approached BMC also. Our engineers had done that part, but we are not getting the fault. Those engineers of BMC were not getting the fault where the water is getting contaminated. Now, in this today afternoon, they have put some cameras inside the pipelines, and they have received the fault, and it is at the Niranjan Shetty, just a few buildings away from the Palan Sojpal building. And there they received the fault where the contamination is going on, and that is because of a house gully where all the pipelines are congested together.
Sandeep Deshpande, why did it take 4 months to get this done? Why did so many people have to fall sick? I have with me Hemant on the show who had 98% liver failure. The doctors told him he's going to need a liver transplant. Why did it take 4 months? Why did we wait for so long?
See, basically, it all ended up with the red tapeism of the permissions.
But you are the representative of these people. You are their local representative.
See, one thing you should understand, I do not have executive power for it.
No, that is not. I understand that, but it is your job to represent their problem within the BMC. It is your job to represent the ordinary citizen within the BMC. What was done? Tell me what you've done about this so far.
See, of course, I have represented it. I have written several letters. I have raised this issue in the Prabhak Committee, and then after 3 months, I got the permission.
After 3 months?
Yeah, after 3
I mean, for a life-threatening situation.
3 months to get the permission. And in between, it was done twice, but they didn't, the engineers were unable to locate the fault, where the exact fault is.
Faye, if you were to just do a Google search on Mumbai water supply, technology use over the past 10 years, Google will throw up enough number of forums, enough number of experts, enough number of consultants who've been hired about things like leak detection, and you hear such brilliant jargon about technological terms, which of course, not being from technology, I cannot speak. But the amount of money, and I think that's again, Ronak should monitor that.
Why does it have to take 4 months?
These kind of things are happening in the municipal corporation.
If the local corporator says he filed for permission, it took him 3 months to get permission. Why does it have to take that long? Why can't we fix this system?
At this point, I would agree with Sandeep Deshpande. There is some kind of red tapeism always is there in the system.
In a life and death situation where people are going to the hospital.
But then I am also saying, he being a representative, he could have directly gone to the municipal commissioner and brought to the notice of the MC, who is the supreme authority, and it could have been resolved in few days itself.
Sandeep Deshpande, why didn't you take this directly to Mr. Ajay Mehta and demand some sort of reaction from him?
Yeah, of course, there are two things. The water engineer, it is not that the engineer are not doing anything. They were trying to find out the fault, but technically they were unable to find out the fault.
That's impossible, Mr. Deshpande. That's impossible, Sandeep Deshpande. I want you to respond to the citizens in your constituency. Hemant, do you want to speak? Do you want to speak to Sandeep Deshpande directly? Go ahead.
Let me complete. First, let me complete. Then you do whatever you want to do. The engineers were digging up. See, I'm not a technical person who can find out the fault. I'm just a local representative. I'm not a technical person. The technical person is the engineer who has to locate the fault. If he is unable to locate the fault, it is not the corporation's fault. It is the engineer's fault.
I agree. My question to you, Sandeep Deshpande, is did you go to Ajay Mehta with the problem at any point and tell him that people in my constituency are falling horribly sick, I need immediate attention?
I have gone with the executive engineer, we have got with the DMC, we have dug the road, but still when the engineer were unable to locate the fault, what I'm supposed to do?
Ma'am, I would like to say, even Mr. Sandeep Deshpande is also not at fault. We as a resident, we stay in a democratic country, and we as a resident have approached BMC n number of times in groups where women have been a part, and we have requested them to take this thing on war footing. But what has happened is, in Marathi there is a saying, Zakham Mandila ani Malam Shandila, which means you have pain at one place and you are applying the medicine at other place. So what is happening exactly is a lack of coordination. If the drainage is overflowing, if the drainage water is getting mixed with the water, drinking water, then the drainage department, the environment department and water department, they have to come together and do something. I will not blame at all Mr. Sandeep Deshpande or any local corporator or anybody. We as a people, as a power, as a group, we have been approaching BMC, and BMC has been doing nothing.
So where is the fault then, Hemant?
Fault is with the coordination in the BMC itself. Why the drainage department is not coordinating with the water department and not solving the overflowing drainage. You can approach Portuguese Church area anytime in the day and you can see the overflowing drainage. I come from that area daily. My kid says, Papa, I cannot walk from here. My shoes will also get dirty.
So Hemant, you're saying that the municipal councillor and the BMC are two separate entities and in a sense don't have anything to do with each other, and so the corporator should be completely, and I'm not just saying in this case Sandeep Deshpande alone, it is the 227 corporators who sit in the general body and then the standing committee and then the improvement committee who take decisions on this whole budget worth 37,000 crores. But of course, by your analogy, none of them are to be blamed because
we have a representative of the BJP here. We have the
all.
representative of the BJP, and I'll acknowledge the fact that Niranjan Shetty said that he will personally take up this problem and find a solution. But he acknowledged the red tape. The local corporators acknowledging the red tape. Now, these are our elected representatives. We don't elect the bureaucrats in the BMC. It is not our problem as citizens to solve the red tape or to solve the bureaucracy or to solve the lack of intention in the BMC and to solve those problems. We vote. We elect representatives. That's as far as we can go as citizens. At some point, those elected representatives need to clean up the system.
I would say that to some extent the institutions need to be insulated from the political class, and the institutions themselves should work in a very robust manner.
Or everybody in the BMC should be fired and we should replace them with people who want to do their jobs.
But see, it is a fact of the matter, Faye, that all our institutions are heavily politicized institutions, and they have a great deal of political interference in terms of contracts, etc. Again, whether we talk about pothole issue, about how contracts are given, or hydraulic department. So I don't think we can, in our case, insulate the institutions from the political class as neatly as Hemant was suggesting right now.
Ronak?
You know, Faye, I mean, one point Mr. Sandeep Deshpande was making, that he took his complaints to the BMC and, you know, he was not getting any response. And what baffles me is that, you know, here we have somebody who has been elected, who has the power. I mean, if you just put on a hat of being a, let's say, hypothetically...
But I should also remind you, Sandeep Deshpande is the same corporator who threatened to kidnap the additional commissioner of the BMC if he didn't fix the potholes.
Absolutely.
It went up to that point. That's
I
the reaction.
appreciate that. You know, I mean, I think that kind of energy is needed to get things solved. But at some point, I do feel that, you know, if there is a response not coming from the BMC, why not put on a CEO's hat and try to see... I mean, we are a city of 18 million people. I mean, you're telling me that the BMC engineer could not detect the problem for 3 months and we've landed up with people severely ill on the death. And you're telling me that you could not put an article out in the paper saying that we are struggling to solve this problem. Is there somebody else willing to step up and help us? And in a city of 18 million people, nobody would step up to help you. I mean, because I mean, our helplessness that we went to the BMC and nothing happened, and that's where the end of the story is. In the private sector, I've never heard of such a statement where you would say that I tried to do something.
Your elected representatives, and I want to have this conversation for anybody who's watching at home, for our 4 citizens and anybody else who's watching at home. This is what we expect from our elected representatives, to go and fight on our behalf. So at some point, if the answer, Sandeep Deshpande, I'm glad you're still with us, if the answer is that you approached the BMC and did not get a reaction, then my reaction is everybody who works in the BMC should be fired and we should replace them with people who want to do their job. If you can't get a reaction, how can I get a reaction? How can Hemant get a reaction?
See, I don't deny my responsibility. It is my responsibility to look after the people in my ward, and I really don't deny that responsibility. But the problem was, I am not a technical person who can go and find out the fault. Please understand this.
No, nobody. See, nobody's
the head of departments usually don't need the technical expertise.
They don't need the technical expertise.
They have experts at their disposal. All they need to put is the word out that they are looking for an expert, and people usually line up.
Sandeep Deshpande, Sandeep, my point is back to this. Shouldn't the BMC have the ability to find the fault? When people are getting horribly sick, how can it take them 3 months to find the fault?
There are n numbers of reasons for this, why the BMC does not have quality engineers. There are n numbers of reasons.
Tell us the reasons. Tell us the reasons.
There are n numbers of reasons. This is not the right time to talk about why the engineers are not capable of finding the fault, why they are like this, why they don't have train. Even I will tell you, they don't have drainage mapping below the this thing. Underground drainage mapping should be there with BMC. That is also not available with the world. So I just don't want to give you lame excuses on behalf of BMC, but that is the thing, and they should be prepared for this. So this is the incident.
So are we saying, Niranjan Shetty also respond to this, are we saying that this is what citizens need to be prepared for in one of the greatest cities in the world, that there's absolutely nothing that we can do or our elected representatives can do on our behalf to fix the problem? We are at the mercy of bureaucrats in the BMC, Niranjan Shetty, nothing can be done?
No. I would like to reiterate what Sandeep Deshpande is saying. He is very well rightly saying that whatever he mentioned is not the executive, the person in charge of understanding the technical problems. He had tried to raise up the issue, he had taken up the issue with the proper authority. But you should also understand one thing, that the Mumbai municipal corporations, that the pipes which are coming all the way, the water, it's coming right below the tunnel, and it's almost 2,200 millimeters to 5,500 millimeters, and taking approximately 100 kilometers long. So it's not so...
No.
What I'm trying to say...
The taxes that I pay to live in this city, the taxes that Hemant pays, that Sachin pays, that all of the other citizens in that, they all pay taxes to live in this city.
I agree. I said it is one of the incidents which has happened.
You cannot tell us that people, that little children will have liver failure.
You will have to understand the whole of Mumbai. It has been carried out. The water has been treated in 4 different kind of treatments. It has been done, and thereafter it reaches Mumbai. So from farthest area it is coming. So it's not that all over Mumbai the water has been contaminated. I would agree to Sandeep Deshpande's statement. He said that the BMC officers were unable to find the fault. So once the fault is found, naturally damage, whatever was done, could be repaired.
I refuse to accept this answer. When children are having liver failure, how can it take us 4 months?
No, I agree to your one point where you said that a technical person it could have been done within few days.
It could have been done. It should have been done.
I agree.
Someone should be held accountable.
Yes, I will ask Sandeep Deshpande. I have already taken an appointment for another work with the MC on day after tomorrow. If he joins me, I'll positively, we'll both take up the issue that such officers having a callous attitude should be fired.
But okay, so here's the thing. If both of you can go to the MC and bring up the issue now, why did you wait until I brought it up on this show? People were still getting sick
I think
then.
It was just today mentioned in the newspaper I read. Sandeep would be in a better position because he's the local corporator.
Sandeep Deshpande, if you now with Niranjan Shetty go and speak to the Municipal Commissioner, Mr. Ajay Mehta, and bring it to his notice, will things be different?
See, I'll tell you one thing. Instead of, if you give me a sufficient time to explain what has happened, then only I can talk. If we talk in between,
okay, go ahead. Explain to us what has happened.
Now the thing is that the drainage pipeline, Hemant is there on the line?
Yes, I'm there.
Hemant?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pipeline, the fault was at Raoji Sojpal. You must be knowing where Raoji Sojpal is.
Yes.
Yeah. And that Raoji Sojpal house gully was totally encroached by Raoji Sojpal people.
Right. It is locked also from outside.
Yeah, and they locked from the outside. Their landlord is not there at all. So today we broke the lock. See, these are the things. Somebody should understand at least. I am not giving you any excuses for this. It is my responsibility as a corporator. I don't deny that, and I take whole responsibility of BMC and for whatever has happened.
He has done it. I've listened to it about, ma'am.
And today I made them to break the lock. Whatever case has happened. I made them to break the lock. We removed the encroachment. Then camera was put inside. When you are breaking somebody else's building's lock because of that drainage pipeline, it is very easy to talk on a TV show, but it is very difficult to face all these cases.
Correct. He's right.
Yes, he is right. But then my question is, the BMC officers could do work in other areas apart from that area.
Now what BMC officers have done, they have given notice to that landlord of Raoji Sojpal building.
Yeah, but then 4 months they were not working on a daily basis.
That's what I'm telling you. That they should have done it very fastly, or they should have broke the lock that time.
Sandeep.
That is the executive power. They have got power to do this.
They have the power.
Yeah, BMC has the power.
Power to do this. But the thing is that even they have to follow the procedure to do that. They have to follow a legal procedure. They have to first serve a notice, give them 15 days time and all these things.
Still, they have taken 3 to 4 months. They're not doing anything. No, that is the biggest problem.
In emergency situations, I'm sure that timeline can be reduced.
Late, the issue, it has become very late to solve the issue. But I'm confident within day or 2 days, this issue will be solved. But whatever the delay has happened, that is a lack of BMC's administration. And also, as a corporator, I take whole responsibility of it.
Sandeep Deshpande, I appreciate the fact that you got on the phone with us and you took responsibility and that you've been fighting on behalf of these citizens. I want to understand, obviously, we've circled back and Sandeep, we've had a conversation about potholes. We've had a conversation about cleanliness and cleaning our streets, and now we're talking about dirty water. And somehow we circle back to the same thing. We circle back to the fact that the bureaucrats in the BMC are not receptive, they're not working hard enough and they're not doing their job. What is the solution? From a citizen's point of view, what needs to be done to bring the BMC up to mark?
One thing I will tell you very clearly, there is a lack of staff. Now I will tell you only 3 engineers are working. 4 engineers are not working because they are suffering from dengue and they are in the hospital. What I'm supposed to do, I have to catch hold of those fellows in the hospital and bring them to the roads and ask them to do the work. There is no alternative arrangement.
So the BMC is understaffed and badly managed.
Yeah, there is a insufficient staff, and whatever staff is there, they are with the whole huge responsibilities. and they are running here and there. And also, many of the staff is absent. You should make, see, these are not the local representatives' work. This is the administrative, day-to-day administrative work. And for this fault, the ward officer should be held responsible. He should be called on the debate show. You should ask him why, after several complaints, why did you not respond to them? The executive powers, they are taking salaries from the BHC, huge salaries. They should be also made responsible for this. Not only local representative. As a local representative, yes, I am responsible. But as a ward officer of that particular area, drawing a huge salary, he should be also made responsible. He should be also answerable to the people. Now, after all, we are all working in a democratic country.
Right. I agree with you. We will make the ward officer accountable on this show, on this channel. Niranjan Shetty, what can we do to fix the problem?
I support Sandeep Deshpande's view that the administration is in charge, should be held responsible, and it is the ward officer and the ward officer should be held responsible. I think he is very much right. All such kind of things, when it is been done through the executive powers, it is the ward officer who is in charge and he should be held responsible.
Okay, I want answers from Ronak and Rishi right now for other viewers who are watching at home who are facing a similar problem. And I want to run that footage on your screen. This is, if you've just tuned in, this is the reason why we're having a conversation. Several buildings in Mumbai are very old. They're crisscrossing pipes of water supply and sewage where water gets mixed and horribly contaminated water arrives in our home. This is one building that we're talking about where green water was making people sick from simply washing their hands or brushing their teeth. They were not even drinking this water. And they had to spend 3 or 4 months getting the attention of the local municipality to get the problem fixed. Ronak and Rishi, help us understand, if we're having similar problems in our homes, who do we get in touch with? How do we make sure that it's not another 3 or 4 months before the problem gets solved? Ronak?
You know, I think definitely people should be, should know what are the local water testing labs, and I think it's imperative that they do their own testing and monitoring.
How much does it cost to get water tested?
You know, I mean, I've had people who are representatives of these water purifier companies come home and test it for free, but from what I understand, it's, you know, a couple of thousand rupees. And if the issue is so significant, I think the society or a cooperative housing should definitely try and get it done at a government certified lab. So I think, you know, at some point, I think you have to step in and do things on your own. And citizens, I'm sure Rishi will also know, but there'll be a list of government certified labs where every cooperative housing society, I think, should have it very handy and accessible, where they can send it out and these people turn around in a few days' time with the results. So I think doing that is imperative.
And once we have the results, Rishi, what do we do?
Well, I mean, we are seeing that in spite of, you don't need to go to a government lab. If you're seeing green color water pour out of your tap, that is a proof enough that people are getting sick. So, I mean, and if it's taking 90 days for the BMC to respond, so then that's a different story, which Sandeep has covered quite adequately, I think. No,
so my point is then, obviously, I don't want people at home to believe that there's no hope. I mean, it's never a case of no hope. We all have ward officers, like Sandeep pointed out. We have ward officers, we have elected representatives who represent us in the BMC. If we're facing a problem, we know our water is contaminated. We know it's of a funny color, it smells bad. What do we do? Who do we get in touch with? Is it the ward officer? Is it the local representative? Who should we approach?
So, if I can just add to what Sandeep was saying about not having executive powers and putting everything into the ward officer's lap and the executive engineers, let me tell you that when you will have the conversations with them, they will have their own long laundry list of woes. And their woes will begin with that they never gave out these contracts for building pipelines, or they never have any power on spending decisions on the budgets at all. We should have leak detection units in place. None of them are in place. Sophisticated machinery instrumentation is available to monitor pressure in the pipes. That is not being done. And all of these decisions are beyond the control of the ward officer or the executive engineers. All these decisions are taken at the political level, at the standing committee level, at the improvement committee level. And there are subcommittees over there, water subcommittee, sewage subcommittee. I mean, these are the places where the politicians are, then the ball will come back to the politicians' court. So it's not a one-way thing at all. Both the parties are equally culpable in this. And I would just say, I mean, I'm not holding fort for the tanker lobby at all. I mean, the other society would have been much better off getting tanker water. I think they would have got far cleaner tanker water for bathing purposes than having used this water. And from the looks of it, I mean, they seem to be affluent enough. I mean, we are completely missing out what goes on with 50% of people who stay in the slums. These are English-speaking people who can come on television channels and fight for their case. There are 50% of our population is not able to even speak out for their case.
Actually, one of the things that we should point out is that this channel is available. There are several other members of the press that are available to people who are facing a problem. And we focus on this channel purely on urban issues. So if you're facing a problem and you're not getting a response from either the ward officer or the BMC or anybody else, just get in touch with us. And we will make sure that we put it on a platform where you get a reaction. Niranjan Shetty, it comes back to the political will. It comes back to the parties that are running the BMC and that have a majority in the standing committee, which is you and your ally, the Shiv Sena.
No, I have a different opinion than of Rishi Agarwal. What he mentioned that it's a political decision that is taken in the improvement committee or the any other subcommittees that is taking care of, and directly the ward officer is or the other officers are not responsible. I think once the proposal is passed, it is the responsibility of the administration to take into daily account of what is going on. It is not a political leader who goes day to day and checks what kind of pipes have been installed and what kind of materials have been used. So they are solely responsible. Yes, as far as political this thing is concerned, yes, we take a decision that certain what kind of things should be sanctioned. But you cannot, it is all the quality and quantity is already mentioned in that, and everything is fair. But it is only at the level of the administration where corruption is
Okay, so here's my question. If like the four citizens who are on the show right now, if there's someone watching who feels their ward officer is not doing their job, and this is something that Sandeep Deshpande is also backed right now, the ward officer should be held accountable. He's not doing his job. Who do I go to complain about my ward officer?
I am saying it is the representative whom you should go to, and he will properly take it to the ward officer. But what we were discussing right now,
we have a representative who's saying the ward officer needs to be held accountable.
No, what we were discussing here right now was the issues that which is related to the executive power. So that is why I differentiated with the Rishi Agarwal statement that when ward officer should not be held responsible. There are some incidents where in this case...
I'm not saying he solely cannot be held responsible.
I'm just saying I have a different opinion. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. My question is, how do we hold a ward officer accountable?
In this case, it is the ward officer that can be held responsible.
How do we hold him responsible? Who do we complain to about the ward officer?
As he rightly said, for 4 months he could not identify and find out what is the fault. That is what Sandeep Deshpande was trying to say. It is a woo of
so if we want that ward officer removed, and I do want that ward officer removed, who do I go to? Who will get that ward officer removed?
It is, I think, the Sandeep Deshpande's prerogative that he has to take up in the corporation's house, and he should either go meet the municipal commissioner because he knows very well about his area.
Can we bring Sandeep Deshpande back? Sandeep Deshpande, we want to remove the ward officer in your ward. How do we remove him?
No, the thing is that there are a lot of laws. It is not very easy as we are discussing. I can raise the issue. Commissioner can suspend him. We cannot remove him. You can suspend him at the best possible thing, and he can go to the court again. Then he will fight the case in the court, and he will put his blame to some other people. See, thing is that if you want to find a solution, see, whatever the thing has happened with the Palan Sojpal should not repeat with anybody else, then you will have to improve your system. By removing ward officer is not a solution.
But there's also, Sandeep Deshpande, a clear message needs to be sent to this ward officer, whom in your opinion has not done his job.
Now I'll tell you one thing. For the portals problem,
you threatened to kidnap an assistant commissioner of the BMC. Maybe we should do this with the ward officer as well.
Can you just listen to me?
Okay.
For each and every reason, I cannot do all these things. Each and every reason.
Okay.
But whenever it is necessary, yes, definitely we will do it. Today, I told ward officer categorically, please break the lock. If you don't break that lock, I will break the lock. So I took the responsibility, then the system started working. You should understand, but you cannot do it on a daily basis. You cannot daily threat them. It is not possible. By daily threatening to the ward officer or to the executive engineer, you have to work with the system. You have to take the system along with you and get the things done.
Okay, I have run out of time, but how soon will it be before the residents of this society receive clean water? Sandeep Deshpande.
I think today the fault has been identified by the engineers, and it would be a matter of 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days. Okay, all right. We've run out of time on this show, but 2 or 3 days, that's the guarantee here. We're going to keep a track on it here on this show and on this channel. But if you're facing a problem at home, we have a breakdown of a system here in Mumbai where between the ward officer and the elected representative trying to get each other to work, it seems like none of the IAS officers or none of the administrators in the BMC are doing their job. If you're facing a problem and you don't have anybody who you can go to, you can come to us. My contact details are on your screen. Feel free to get in touch, and we will get in touch with the elected representatives and the people in charge and make sure that your problem is solved. Thanks for watching.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.